welcome back to an episode of the 3 Count. I'm War Machine MJ of the 3 Count Mafia, and I'm here today to talk about Friday Night Smackdown. Yeah. In a nutshell, SmackDown's just becomes it's a hit and miss show. Which is a shame, because we had such high hopes for it. Anyway, we started the show off with, Miz TV, where Miz just basically explains his actions from last week. He tried apologizing to Kofi for attacking him, and just basically explaining himself. And of course, he introduced his guest, his former, his one of his best friends, of course, a returning face to the WWE. It was one John Morrison. Of course, his slow-mo was missing. You know how we have the slow-mo entrance. That was nowhere to be seen. Yeah. Morrison was, explaining how he had an elaborate return for WWE later on, including a 24 documentary. But when he realized that Miz was, not in the brightest places, he cut those plans short to be with his friend. That's some good friendship right there. Of course, he then tore into the WWE Universe for turning their back so quick on The Miz, even though Miz just gave everything for the fans. Of course, they were then interrupted by the New Day, which Kofi and Big E they were clowning Miz for his apology, and yeah. And basically saying that he was reverting to old habits, being the old obnoxious Miz instead of the new cool Miz that everybody likes. So, yeah, that led us to The Miz taking on Kofi Kingston. We came out from commercial. This match had kicked off. John Morrison and Big E were on commentary. Of course, they were taking shots at each other. Midway through the match, Kofi got thrown into Big E by the Miz, so that would prompt Morrison and Big E to come off commentary. And then down the stretch, Morrison would distract Kofi Kingston by taking out Big E, and that would allow Miz to capture the victory with skull-crushing finale. So, yeah. Next, we had yet another installment into the Mandy Rose Otis storyline. I really couldn't care too much about this one. But, yeah, that led to Otis coming out during Mandy Rose's match and distracting Little Miss Bliss for Mandy Rose to get the victory over her. Hooray! Next, Lacey Evans. She hit the ring ready for her match against Sasha Banks. She was met with the unfortunate news that Sasha Banks wasn't there. Of course, Karen of SmackDown had to tell them. Sasha Banks wasn't there because she was recording a rap album. So Lacey Evans, rather than deciding she gets a free night off, she wanted to go throw some hands with Bayley. And of course, Bayley got the better of her in a backstage beatdown. Until Lacey Evans got her rally and just clocked her with the right. So yeah. Next we had Braun Strowman taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. No surprise that Braun Strowman got the victory. And of course, at the end of the match, he got a hold of the United States Championship, was about to raise it over his head until Sami Zayn ran in, made the save, stole the belt, and him and his team carried off into the night. Or I'm sorry, reclaimed the belt. So yeah. And finally, that leads us to our main event. As we kicked off the main event with Roman Reigns coming back, and yeah, he was welcoming back the Usos, his cuz, yeah, his family coming back to support him, and yeah, they basically had some babyface words how they're gonna stick it to Corbin and family and all that, and blah 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 blah. Of course, Corbin and Ziggler interrupted, and there was a match made between the two of them at Royal Rumble prior to their entry into the Royal Rumble. So they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and then they're going to go back to beating the shit out of each other. So that then led to the match of Corbin and Ziggler taking on the Usos. Um, Midway through the match, the Revival got in there to basically mess with the Usos. Of course, Roman took both of them out with one Superman punch. I don't know how that happened. I I probably wasn't paying attention when that happened. Anyway, but yeah, Roman then speared Baron Corbin, which led to a disqualification, and then all hell broke loose outside the ring. And then Bobby Roode made his return by dropping Roman with a spine buster that allowed Corbin, Ziggler, and Roode to beat down on both the Usos and Roman. Of course, they put Roman through an announce table and then buried him underneath furniture. So that's how we closed out the show with Baron Corbin standing tall. So yeah, that's SmackDown in a nutshell. So that being said, if you miss Rod's opinions but not his ugly face, he has a podcast, Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime, on the Castbox app. Go check it out. That being said, I'm War Machine MJ of the 3 Count Mafia, and I'll see you guys next time.